Elizabeti's School by Stephanie Stuve, Bodine, illustrated by Christy Hale. It was Elizabeti's first day of school. She tried to sit still for her mom to braid her hair, but she was so excited she had to fidget a little bit. Mama finished, and Elizabeti jumped up. She twirled around and around in her new school uniform. It was still too early to leave for school, so Elizabeti wanted to play with her cat, Moshi. Elizabeti held a string for Moshi to chase, like she did every day. But this time, Moshi didn't want to play. Finally, it was time to go. Elizabeti waved goodbye to Moshi, hugged her rock doll, Ava, her baby sister, Flora. She held her brother, Betty, gave her a sloppy kiss. Then Mama patted Elizabeti on the head and told her and her older sister, Pendo, to be good as they headed out the door. At first, Elizabeti walked very fast, but she slowed down as they neared the school. Pendo took Elizabeti's hand and led her into the schoolyard. There were boys and girls everywhere laughing and yelling and singing. All the noise made Elizabeti feel shy. She looked back the way they'd come and wished that she had stayed home. But then Elizabeti's friend, Raheli, grabbed her hand and led her over to a group of girls kneeling on the ground. They were playing Makara, a game with rocks. Elizabeti smiled. She liked to play with rocks. Elizabeti watched as Raheli dug a hole and filled it with stones. Then Raheli threw a rock in the air and with the same hand picked up a rock and caught the rock. Again with the same hand. The next time she picked up 2 stones and then 3. Elizabeti had started to dig a hole when the teacher rang the bell. Elizabeti filed inside with the others. She sat near the front. The teacher began telling them all about the things they would do, but Elizabeti had trouble paying attention. She wondered if Flora missed her playing with her, or if Mama needed help cleaning the rice. The other children started to copy the letters the teacher had written on the board. Elizabeti started to copy them too, but she couldn't help wondering if Obi wanted her to take him for a walk, or if Ava was feeling lonely, sitting in the corner by herself at home. Elizabeti wondered if she missed her. She certainly missed them. After the lesson, the children all went outside. Some of the older boys played drums while the girls danced. Elizabeti didn't know the dance, but one of the older girls took her hand and showed her what to do. Elizabeti liked it so much, she didn't want to stop when it was time to go back inside. Back in the schoolroom, the teacher taught Elizabeti and the other young children how to count to 5. Moha, Bili, Tatu, Ni, Tano. After a few times, Elizabeti could say the words on her own. Later, the teacher read a story. After that, school was over. Elizabeti and her classmates stayed to work in the school's garden. Elizabeti helped pick onions and tomatoes. On the walk home, Elizabeti's new shoes started to hurt her feet, so she took them off. The warm dirt felt wonderful on the bottom of her feet. At home, Elizabeti was so glad to see everyone that she hugged them all. She changed into her old clothes, which Mama had washed and dried. They were warm from the sun and felt much softer against her skin than the stiff, new school clothes. Elizabeti helped with the rest of the afternoon's chores. She played with Ava and Obedi and helped Mama give Flora a bath. Elizabeti was so happy to be home, she decided she did not want to go back to school. Elizabeti went to find her cat. She had looked almost everywhere for Moshi when Mama finally called her. Elizabeti ran into the house. Mama was on her knees by Elizabeti's bed, smiling, and Obedi was jumping up and down beside her. Elizabeti peeked under the bed. Moshi was curled up, sleeping, but she wasn't alone. Tucked in next to her were several tiny newborn kittens. Elizabeti knew better than to disturb them, but then she thought of something. She pointed to each kitten and said, Moha, Billy, Tatu, Ni, Tano. Mama was surprised. She hugged her. Elizabeti knew how to count. That night, Elizabeti counted the kittens for Baba and wrote the letters in the dirt to show she had learned at school. Mama and Baba were very proud. Pendo and Elizabeti danced, and they all laughed when Obedi tried to copy them. Elizabeti started to show Mama how to play the game Makara, but she was surprised that Mom was already good at it. They played until it was time to go to sleep. Elizabeti climbed into bed and held Ava close. She looked at her pretty school clothes hanging near the doorway. She thought about how good it felt to show Mama and Papa the new things she had learned. Elizabeti shut her eyes and listened to Moshi steady purring and mewling every now and then. Elizabeti decided she would give school another try, but home was surely the best place to be.